Welcome everyone. This is JV in the building. Welcome to another episode of Stat Stacking Saturday. It's September 2nd. Lots to cover for you here in today's show. In today's episode, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis and quoting Max. There are no TA billionaires. TA is astrology for men. You can't time the market. Nobody can. Nobody ever has consistently. Any and all entry points for Bitcoin are therefore perfect. So hodl and forget it. Sage advice coming from the high priest. Also in today's show, China court declares virtual assets legal properties protected by the law. I'll be breaking down this big important report, as well as Ben Armstrong apologizes to the crypto community amid the ongoing Bitboy drama and hints at a comeback. Max responded to this. The crocodile tears will soon become real tears when the prison door slams shut. He also says that his recommendation to buy Bitcoin is now up over 20 million % since 2011. Much respect. We'll also be discussing the Ripple legal team opposing the SEC appeal over the XRP decision, as well as former SEC Chairman Jay Clayton says the spot Bitcoin ETF approval is inevitable despite the ongoing delays. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin OG Adam Back says Bitcoin can explode to a $200 trillion market cap, sending the Bitcoin price to $10 million per coin by this particular date. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. Welcome everyone. A quick reminder to smash that like button. It helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm, and make sure to subscribe to the channel to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. Also, be sure to follow me over on X. I'm very active in this community and I share a lot of content. And of course, I always greatly appreciate everyone's support. And with that being shared, fam, welcome everyone. This is pod episode number 1390. I'm your host, JV. Today is September 2nd, 2023. I'm a little red today. That's because I spent the day at the pool, getting those sun vibes and vitamin D3 with my daughter. But anyways, fam, lots to cover. The market is finally back in the green, which is cool, but we're still below 26,000. So let's kick it off with our technical analysis. And make sure to say hello and let me know where you're tuning in from in the live chat, as towards the end of the show, we always do our live Q&A, and I'll address everyone's questions, comments, concerns, etc. So yeah, let's break this down, shall we? Checking out our market watch here, we can see Bitcoin in the green, barely holding on to 25,800. A lot of analysts are projecting that we may revisit as low as $23,000. And we also have Ether back in the green, but barely sitting above $1,600. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, we're barely holding on to that $1 trillion milestone with about 25 billion in volume at the past 24 hours, with the Bitcoin dominance at 48.3%. So on the decline with the Ether dominance at 18.9%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers of the past 24 hours, we have SafePal up 6%, trading above 55 cents, followed by Casper up 3%, trading at 3.5 cents, followed by IOTA up almost 3%, trading just above 16 cents, followed by Litecoin and the Woo Network. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, overall, we're in the green, but we just had a lot of carnage in the past 24, 48 hours. Some of the biggest gainers, it looks like not really much to brag about. Modest gains, 3-4%. So the biggest losers being TON and OKB and DY, DX, as well as HBAR. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we're currently rated a 39 in fear. Yesterday a 40, last week a 38, and last month a 52, which is neutral. So there you have it. How many of you have been taking advantage of this dip? Let me know. Drop a comment. Appreciate it, chat. Now let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis to mix things up a bit. We're going to be using TradingView and checking out some of these indicators. As you can see here, again, we're barely holding on to 25,800. You can see the technical analysis overall signal for the day is sell. Now there's literally a lot of oscillators and there's a lot of moving averages. On the left, you can see these oscillators. We currently have one signal saying sell as an oscillator, 8 neutral and 2 buy. The 2 buy signals are the MACD as well as the Williams percentage range. Then on the other hand, we have the moving averages, which shows a strong sell signal. In fact, 14 of them say sell with 1 neutral and 0 buy signals, which is wild to say the least. That includes the exponential moving average, the simple moving average, etc., etc., etc. So there you have it. And as Max shared, there are no technical analysis billionaires. millionaires. TA is astrology for men. Probably one of my favorite quotes of all time. Hilarious. You can't time the market. Nobody can. Nobody ever has consistently. And all entry points for Bitcoin, any of them are perfect. So just hodl and forget it. Sage advice, in my humble opinion, coming from the one and only high priest of Bitcoin, any target. I mean, earlier before the show started, we were having some interaction in the chat, and someone said, let's just get to 50,000. Forget about this $10 million nonsense ultimately. And my point is, it doesn't matter what the price action is. It's always the right moment to be accumulating sats. That's why our motto is DCA and HODL. DCA, dollar cost average. Keep stacking them sats because we know over the long haul, this is a fact. Anyone who has been holding on to Bitcoin for 4 years or longer, which is a complete cycle, is in the green and in profit. So that's the name of the game here. There's no gambling. This is just a long-term investment, and we know over the long haul, you're going to win if you can just have those diamond hands, you know what I mean, versus the paper weak hands, which is like probably your average investor. Hence why, most people get wrecked. It's very sad, but this is the nature of the beast. Still buying Bitcoin at a tremendous discount considering the all-time high is still 69,000. So to buy Bitcoin in the 25 to 26 range is a steal if you're to ask me. Now, let's break down our story of over in China. This is a big bombshell, breaking news just coming in. Check it out. A People's Court in China published a report on the legality of virtual assets, analyzing the criminal law attributes of these digital assets. The court noted in its report that virtual assets under the current legal policy framework are still legal property, which is protected by the law. That's right. The People's Court of the People's Republic of China exercise judicial power independently and are not subject to the interference by any administration or public organization. These courts try criminal, civil, and administrative cases, as well as economic disputes. The report titled Identification of the Property Attributes of Virtual Currency and Disposal of Property Involved in the Case acknowledged that virtual assets have economic attributes and thus can be classified as property, reported a local daily. That's as Michael Saylor called that. He says Bitcoin is digital property. Now, although China has deemed all foreign digital assets illegal by imposing a blanket ban, which we know, the report argues that virtual assets held by individuals should be considered legal and protected by law under the current policy framework. So the report also suggests to deal with crimes involving virtual assets and noted that since the money and property involved in the case cannot be confiscated, it should be based on the unification of criminal and civil law. Such cases should be treated separately to achieve a balanced protection of personal property rights and social and public interests. China imposed the blanket ban on all crypto-related activities and banned foreign crypto exchanges from offering their services to the mainland customers. However, despite a hostile national policy on digital assets, the Chinese courts have offered a contrasting stance on Bitcoin and other digital assets over the years. The first instance of such a difference arose in September 2022 last year when a lawyer suggested that crypto hodlers in China are protected by the law in case of theft, misappropriation, or breach of a loan agreement despite the ban on crypto. And then later in May of last year, a Shanghai court affirmed that Bitcoin qualifies as virtual property and thus is subject to property rights. Now, China's hostile stance against Bitcoin and other cryptos has been a long-drawn one going on for years. However, over the past few years, the government seems to have softened its stance. This was evident from the rise in China's Bitcoin mining share, which dropped to zero post blanket ban, but rose to take the second spot within a year. So there you have it. I mean, China's doing its thing. We all know their government deemed like trading illegal and it scared everyone. However, we also have Hong Kong, which is not considered the mainland, who has been embracing Bitcoin and blockchain technology. So it's good to see China overall softening their stance. As we all know, they have a very powerful government, probably with too much power. And it may be the blueprint for what America is trying to do, especially with the unlawful continuous action of the SEC, which we're going to cover a little later when we discuss the Bitcoin ETF. But now let's break down our next story of the day. And FYI, I actually spent 13 months in China, so I have firsthand experience. I lived in that country, in the mainland, near Beijing, from 2010 to 2011. So I have a lot of experience. And I remember when I lived there, the social networks were all banned, meaning YouTube, Facebook, you name it. The only way to access them was through a VPN, and I don't know if things have changed since, but nonetheless, I'll be keeping you posted with the latest developments. Now let's discuss the biggest crypto YouTuber, Bitboy, known as his real name is Ben Armstrong, and the saga which has been going on. This was actually just published, so I want to cover it. Bitboy Crypto, Ben Armstrong, has released an emotional apology video after he was kicked out of his own company. This is the video. How many of you actually watched it? Let me know. I watched it just the other day. His wife, Bethany, accompanied the infamous crypto influencer in the emotional video shared on Bitboy's Crypto's YouTube channel, and in it, Ben acknowledged making mistakes that led to his ouster from the company. And while denying that he had gone back to using hard drugs like cocaine and meth, Armstrong admitted to taking diet pills and steroids, which led him to acting crazy, so he says. He also confessed to having an affair with an unnamed person, a situation that went against his image as a family man. However, Bethany confirmed that she had forgiven Ben for the affair and that she had no plans of leaving him, in which God bless her heart, but I feel sorry for his wife. To make a public debacle out of it, to me, just doesn't seem like the right way to handle it. But then again, it's not me. So anyways, in the video, Armstrong reiterated his commitment to correcting the situation that led to his firing. And even though he was caught off guard by the confrontation regarding his substance use and infidelity, he communicated his intent to cooperate with the team from the Hit Network to guarantee the continuation of the Bitboy crypto channel. Armstrong, whose departure from Bitboy Crypto sent ripples across the crypto community, stated that while he had several opportunities for legal recourse, he had chosen to work with the Bitboy team to save and grow the company. So they're all working together now. He highlighted his wish to maintain the numerous brands under the Bitboy crypto umbrella, such as Vumio, I've never heard of that one, have you? Bitboy Academy, Crucial Crypto, and the Hit Network. Despite the present slump in the market for NFTs, the influencer emphasized he continues to have faith in the prospects of these brands, notably in Vumio's ability to establish itself as a dominant platform for such tokens. Now let's discuss a potential internal conflict. Armstrong, who founded the Bitboy crypto channel and his parent company, the Hit Network, parted ways with the organization August 29th, a few days back, following reports of the internal conflict between him and his partners, TJ Shed and Justin Williams. And while the video hints heavily at personal problems being the main reason Armstrong left Bitboy Crypto, others like crypto investigator Zach XBT question whether it was sparked by his connection to several low reputation meme coins. So don't be meme coining and ish coining, fam. It could come back and bite you in the butt. The crypto influencer faced criticism for marketing risky and shady crypto investments to inexperienced investors via affiliate links, and it reports that he sold tokens after advertising them to the viewers. And amid this upheaval, the fate of Armstrong's digital currency, Ben, that's right, he has his own crypto, was also called into question. Though some followers have predicted its demise, Armstrong had downplayed such speculation. And again, Max's response, the crocodile tears will soon become the real tears when the prison door slams shut. I know that's a little harsh, but I think Max is ultimately saying if you're a big influencer and you have millions of followers like this guy and you're pushing scam coins, it's going to come back and hurt you. So you should know better. Take the responsibility, fam. Max also, I got to shout him out because his recommendation to buy Bitcoin is now up 20 million % since 2011. So you can't be dissing Max when he makes these predictions because no one else was recommending Bitcoin when it was only $1. Name another individual. I don't know of any. Do you? If so, enlighten me in the comments right down below. And shout out to Max and Stacy, Najib Bukele, and all of the beautiful people of El Salvador. So very interesting as the saga continues with Bitboy. How do you feel this is likely to play out? He denied the rumors of relapse and ultimately just said, hey, it's the steroids. It's the diet pills. Convenient, interesting. For the record, I've never taken a diet pill my entire life. I've never taken a steroid my entire life. And I don't promote ish coins. Just saying. But with that being shared, fam, enough of that. Let's dive into our next breaking story of the day. The latest with the ongoing drama between XRP and the SEC. It seems everything is drama nowadays in crypto, isn't it? Shout out to everyone in the live chat. I appreciate all the support. Lawyers representing Ripple in its lawsuit with the U.S. SEC suggest the regulator hasn't met the requirements to request an appeal in a September 1st filing with the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. Ripple's legal team said the SEC's grounds for an appeal largely rested on dissatisfaction with a judge's decision that the XRP token did not qualify as a security for sales to retail investors. The lawyers said exceptional circumstances required for interlocutory appeal were absent in the case and called on the judge to deny any requests for an appeal to stay. Quoting them here, the SEC has not even attempted to meet the standard for a stay, even after the individual defendants identified that omission in their pre-motion letter, said Ripple. The individual defendants write separately to oppose the SEC's request. Ripple joins that opposition. Now, in August, the commission moved the appeal to stay a July court decision in which Judge Torres ruled XRP largely was not a security under the SEC guidelines. Take that, Mr. Gensler. And at the time, the SEC argued there was substantial ground for differences of opinion on the laws at issue. The SEC filed its lawsuit against Ripple. Their CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, and co-founder Chris Larson in December of 2020 prompted many exchanges to delist the XRP token to avoid possible legal entanglement. Following Torres' ruling, many of the same firms said they would relist the token or explore doing so in the future. Quoting him here, it's sad that so many in the U.S. crypto community have to resort to the legal process to prove this SEC is out of control and consistently wrong on the facts and the law, said Garlinghouse. And in August 29th, X post. Now, I'm going to have to agree with Garlinghouse here. I don't think the SEC is protecting investors whatsoever, in my humble opinion. The SEC had targeted a number of crypto firms this year in 2023 over allegations of security violations, including Binance, the largest exchange in the world, Coinbase, the largest exchange in the United States. And on August 29th, asset manager Grayscale achieved a court victory against the SEC following an appeal ordering a review of its app for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which is a great sign. The civil lawsuit between the SEC and Ripple is currently ongoing, and Judge Torres proposed a jury trial for the case starting in the second quarter of next year. So that will probably be potentially after the halving or around that time, as the Bitcoin halving is scheduled to be in about 6 months, sometime in April of next year. Do you think if this goes to an appeal that the XRP community and Ripple will win, or do you think Mr. Gensler and the SEC will get their way in the end? Let me know your honest thoughts. And now let's break down our next story of the day, which is the spot Bitcoin ETF, which again, upon getting this approved by the SEC, this can usher in literally, no exaggeration, but trillions of dollars into the Bitcoin market, which will then lead us to our featured story of the day, which is Adam Back predicting a $200 trillion market cap for Bitcoin, sending the price to $10 million per coin. So let's break this down. Here we go. Following the United States SEC delaying decisions on several spot Bitcoin ETFs, former Commissioner Chair Jay Clayton said he believed approval was still going to happen at some point. And also, I want to point out the Bloomberg experts like Eric Balchunas, they ran the numbers and they believe there is a 75% chance still that this year in 2023, the SEC approves a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, he says also, caveat, there's a 95% chance of the approval happening, if not this year, then next year in 2024. And again, that's the same time of the halving, which again is right around the corner. Back to our story. September 1st interview with CNBC, Clayton said that major financial institutions are backing a spot Bitcoin as investment vehicles, represented a shift in how retail investors can get exposure to crypto. And on August 31st, the SEC designated a longer period in which it could review the spot Bitcoin ETF apps from BlackRock, WisdomTree, VanEck, Invesco, Galaxy, Bitwise, Valkyrie, and Fidelity. That's right, literally 7 of them just got delayed once again. The commission has another 45 days upon publication of the notice in the Federal Register either to approve, deny, or again delay the ETF apps from these 7 major firms. Clayton said he expects to see progress on this moving forward. The SEC can continue to push the deadlines on the apps until March 2024. So note, the halving is the following month after that deadline. So keep that in mind, fam. Quoting him here, an approval is inevitable, said Clayton. He also says that the futures product and cash product can't go on forever. And to watch this video he did where he was interviewed on CNBC saying it's clear the Bitcoin is not a security and that a spot Bitcoin ETF in the United States is inevitable. Check the show notes below the video in the description. And what are your thoughts? When do you personally feel a spot Bitcoin ETF is most likely to be approved? Let me know, and we'll discuss it again during our live Q&A here in a few moments. But now for the moment you have all been waiting for, Bitcoin OG Adam Back, one of the pioneers of Bitcoin. He's projecting a $200 trillion market cap, sending the Bitcoin price parabolic to $10 million per coin. So let's break this down, and a massive shout out to Adam Back. The Blockstream CEO and Bitcoin advocate, Mr. Back, says that the flagship crypto can explode to a $200 trillion market cap in the next 9 years. That's the caveat, meaning the price tag of about $10 million per coin. Personally, I don't mind waiting 9 years to see a $10 million Bitcoin. How about yourself, fam? Let me know, chat. In a tweet thread, Back says that based on historical performance, Bitcoin is still on track to continue its trend of rallying on average 100% per year. That's right. Quoting him here, early this year, I was curious of the claim Bitcoin 2x's per year on average, and it checks. The decade, January 2013 to December 2022, Bitcoin went up 2x a year, which is 1200x in a decade. If that continues, we'll cross the $10 million Bitcoin price and $200 trillion market cap by the end of the next 2 halvenings in approximately 9 years. In fact, I have the thread in which he announced this, so this is not made up. This ain't pie in the sky. This is Adam Back literally predicting the Bitcoin price hitting $10 million in 9 years. He continues, 200 trillion is a halving 2009 Bitcoin market cap prediction number. It's a lot, and it displaces a significant part of the store value premiums in bonds, real estate, monetary premium, gold, 60/40 stock portfolios, etc. Something adoption will slow and derivatives reduce volatility. Now, the veteran OG and Bitcoin and hash cash inventor says the Bitcoin doesn't necessarily need to see $100 trillion flow into it in order to reach the same market cap due to the illiquid markets and the tendency for Bitcoin investors to long-term hodl their coins. Where my long-term hodler is at, make some noise. Quoting him again, also bear in mind, pun intended, bear in mind, Bitcoin does not have to absorb anywhere near $100 trillion to reach that market cap due to the relative thin trading and hodl cold storage investors. If Bitcoin really gets moving, it'll become harder to get anyone to sell, have to pry it out of their cold wallets. Preach. That's how I feel. Given the volatility, I think Bitcoin can overshoot widely and tap one of these 100 to $300 trillion market caps. Correct. And then regain steadier adoption over time. I suspect the people with average entry points relative to then current price won't have much to incentivize to sell in size. So there you have it. And again, there's a very long thread. I'm not going to read all of this, but he gets very more into detail on how all of this can likely play out, discussing the $10 million market price, talking about the $100 to $300 trillion market cap. And again, this isn't just some schmo. This guy is responsible for Hashcash and played a major role in the invention of Bitcoin as well. In fact, some even believe that Adam Back can be Satoshi. I personally think it's a collective of people, but who knows? He could very well be one of many. But what are your thoughts? Let me know. And not only does he have these crazy, outlandish, bullish predictions of a 200 trillion market cap, $10 million Bitcoin price, he also puts his money where his mouth is. He's predicting the Bitcoin price to rise to $100,000 per coin by March 31st of next year, right before the halving. In fact, he made a bet on it. Let's actually discuss this bet. Shall we? Here's an article. Bitcoin OG bet surprising sum on the Bitcoin price hitting 100,000 before the halving. That's right. Adam Back, one of the early pioneers and OGs, is pretty confident Bitcoin hit the all-time high of 100,000 before Bitcoin's halving in 2024 and is willing to drop 1 million Satoshis wagering on it. In an August 7th conversation on X, Back agreed to bet with Anonymous X user Viking Bitcoin that Bitcoin would reach 100,000 by this date, March 31st, 2024. And the other individual said he won't believe it hits this price until 2025. You can see the thread here, Adam Back. But I'm okay with 100,000, probably sooner than the halving, April 2024, though, in my view. Want to bet? Sure. What are the terms? And then Back said, so greater than 100,000 by March 31st of next year, midnight Zulu, or you win, right? And then they say, how many sats? And again, 1 million sats. It's not a lot of money, but I think it's a fun wager at the end of the day. We all know that the former Coinbase CTO, I believe his name is Balaji, he bet $1 million that the Bitcoin price would hit something outrageous like $1 million within 90 days. Obviously, he was wrong. But anyways, I think Adam Back has a solid percentage chance to win this bet. I think Bitcoin has a chance to hit 100 grand, obviously. I don't think it is likely or probable, but I'd say, if I had to guess, I'd say there's probably a 40% chance Bitcoin can hit a new all-time high before the halving. And I'd say 60% chance doesn't happen before the halving. But what if it did? And what if Adam is right? And what if we are on trajectory to that $10 million Bitcoin price by the year 2032? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. And now let's dive into our live Q&A. Massive shout out to everyone in the live chat. Don't forget to smash that like button if you got value out of today's show. I go live here on the channel every day. We also stream simultaneous on Rumble. If you're watching and streaming right now on YouTube, I command you right now to smash that like if you want to help support this movement, and I greatly appreciate it at the same time. And also, I encourage you to follow me on Rumble if you're not already following me on Rumble. Follow me on X. I have all the social media links in the description below the video, as it means the world. And if something ever happened to the platform you're watching, at least you can still continue to get the news from Crypto News Alerts each and every day. I appreciate that. Also, I suggest and recommend you join our Discord. It's a open server, so everyone is welcome to join to take advantage of that. It's discord.cryptonewsalerts.net. And speaking about Discord, what I want to do is actually read some of the questions. We have a channel specifically to ask a question, which I'll address on the show. So we're going to be addressing those questions in the channel on Discord. But first, again, massive shout out to everyone. Boomer Futurist, Mr. Still Stacking, Jeremy Amos, smash that like, appreciate it. Punchy Coffee 20, Chris Minka, Rich Hatch, was good, $0 G Row, Tim, welcome fam. We have a few Tims in the building. McLovin, welcome. TP, welcome. Welcome, bud. Good to see you sailing with twins. Always a pleasure. Satoshi is the Fed, says $0. Well, regardless of who Satoshi is, no one can stop Bitcoin. That, my friend, is a fact. That bet is worth $290. Thank you for breaking down the math. I guess that would be the equivalent of 1 million Satoshis at today's dollar value. It's best for humanity. We never know for sure who actually created Bitcoin, in my opinion. I actually agree with you. I think that is best, and I think that's why Satoshi did the righteous and noble thing and disappeared. So no one can go after him, number one. And number two, no one can go after Bitcoin, which is even more important. Wouldn't you agree? So a good question here coming from Digital Dankness. Could Bitcoin and blockchain tech fundamentally change the way we verify and authenticate identity online? 100%. And a great example of that, I guess, for example, with voting, one thing we do know that blockchain is obviously a public ledger, so everything can be verified. TikTok, next block, every 10 minutes it's updated, and it's the most secure network. So I would say they should be incorporating voting, but they probably won't want to unless they're forced to, because they rather give the ability to manipulate the polls, which they could obviously do, and in which they did in the previous election, and what can potentially happen in this upcoming election in 2024. We obviously know blockchain tech is the future, and it will change the way we do everything, and especially with our identity. I truly do believe that. So excellent question. Another good question coming from Bitcoin Maximus. Will Gary Gensler do the honorable thing and resign, or will he get fired first? That's a great question. Bring Facts responded, honorable Gary. He looks like a worm for a reason. He probably just is in it for the kids. And I'm not even going to read you what the hashtag says. But anyways, that's a great question. I think Gensler, I don't know. I think he'll try to save face and not get fired. I don't even know if he'll resign. I think he'll just finish his term, just like Jay Clayton did before Gary was introduced. We got to keep in mind Gary's background. He's a big player with Goldman Sachs. He's probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and he is ultimately the sheriff of crypto. He's the main guy policing unethically, unfortunately. I wish he was doing the right thing and really cared about the investors, but obviously he's protecting his homies who put him in that position in the first place. He was having ongoing meetings with Scam Bankman, the fraudster of FTX, before the collapse. I would pay a lot of money to be a fly on the wall to know what the heck they were discussing. But I will tell you this, they seem to be going after all the legitimate players in the space, and they don't seem to really care so much about the bad people. I mean, there's still a million meme coins that are going to wreck people. There's a lot of bad investors and scammers they don't seem to be doing much about. In fact, they seem to be protecting them to the best of their abilities, even the Scam Bankman fraudster himself. So it makes me really wonder, who does Gary really work for? Is he working for the people? Hell no. He's just working for the people who put him in that position, and he's protecting the banksters, the fraudsters, the politicians, the unethical agencies with three-letter names, etc. And I think he will likely to continue to do so until the wheels fall off. That's my humble opinion, but what are your 2 Satoshis? Please do let me know in the comments, fam. Maximus also points out the SEC lost to Ripple, the SEC lost to Grayscale, the SEC had to settle with multiple other projects. All of this comes after they failed to protect consumers from FTX. So yeah, it's a brilliant question. So no clarity, Gary. Can't run that past him. I don't respect him, really. I don't think anyone does. In what ways might $1 million Bitcoin influence the government's attitudes towards digital currencies and potential rethinking on monetary policies? It seems Bitcoin has already influenced this because, Bitcoin is still 25,000 times more than $1 right now, and they know it undermines the dollar. I've even heard former President Trump say that when someone asked him about Bitcoin, what are your thoughts? He says, I don't think it's good. I think it undermines the US dollar. Of course, that would be the answer to anyone who represents the dollar, the central banking cartels, etc. Because Bitcoin was designed, and this is a quote from Max Kaiser, I'm paraphrasing, but Bitcoin was created as a central bank killer. It's here to kill the central banking system. Keep that in mind. So keeping that in mind, it's obviously changing everything because now the government is going to turn into a cashless society. They don't want Bitcoin to take over, so they're going to be creating their CBDCs. The pilot's already, going and running in many countries around the world. I think the first country that started it was China. It'll probably be tied to your, what is it called, your social credit score. And they're going to be controlling the masses because at the end of the day, whoever controls the money controls the people. Right? Government prints money, so therefore they can control the people. Now, the only antidote to that, to escape that, is obviously Bitcoin. So if you don't want to be enslaved and you like sovereignty, you like freedom, and you want to continue to be a sovereign individual, and for your family as well, you got to be stacking sats. It's the only alternative. Because think about a cashless society and what that truly means, right? Obviously, cash is not really that traceable, yes and no, but Bitcoin is very traceable. CBDCs are going to be extremely traceable, and those are going to be the 2 alternatives. CBDC, slavery system, or sovereignty and freedom. What do you stand for? Let me know in the comments right down below. And great questions coming out of the Discord server. So I appreciate that, Dankness. I appreciate that, Maximus. Bring facts, and everyone who has been active over on Discord. Much love and much respect. Back to some of the questions here in the chat. In 3 years, I've been watching JV. He does a price prediction coverage every video along with the latest news. If you go to Fox News, do you tell them when you're tired of the way they host their platform? I appreciate the love, Dankness. Much love. Let people say whatever they want to say. It's all good. If you don't like the show, you just don't tune in. But you want me to change my show because you're not a fan? No, thank you. Because here's the deal. The truth of the matter is, whenever I upload these 30 to 60 minute live streams, on average, 98% of you give me the thumbs up. That tells me I'm doing something right. So if 2 people give me the thumbs down, I'm not going to listen to those 2 people on how to run my show. So I think Dankness makes a great point. You can't please everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just a fact. What's up, JV? What's up, Jack Jiong? I appreciate the support. Black Swan Dawn says, I got the Bitcoin. That's what's up. Keep getting the Bitcoin. I love that. Any Bitcoin price action is nice. I welcome them all, 100%. And again, isn't that a great question or a great quote from Max when he says that there are no TA billionaires? This is true, because if TA was easy, everyone would be a billionaire. Why isn't anyone doing TA a billionaire? Because they're probably more likely to get wrecked than to make any profit. That's just the reality. Very few TA experts are going to be profitable. If I was to guess, round number, making up off the top of my head, I'd say you're lucky if 5% of people who practice technical analysis and are day trading or whatever type of investments you're doing is actually going to be succeeding, right? It's player versus player. So in order for somebody to win in investing in general, including crypto, somebody's going to have to lose. You know what I mean? So you have to keep that in mind at the end of the day. Welcome, Tim's Crypto. Appreciate the love. McLovin, what's poppin'? JV, it's going up forever. That's good enough for me. Let's freaking go. You already know. The purchasing power of the dollar is guaranteed to go down as they continue to print money. And the purchasing power of Bitcoin is guaranteed, and mathematically, it's a certainty that it will continue to go up. That, my friend, is a fact. What's up, Hey Z? Welcome, fam. What's up, Knox Bill? Party time. A reminder, also in our Discord server, there is a 100K Fiesta Bitcoin channel exclusive for all of you who would like to be attending our $100,000 celebration Fiesta in Puerto Rico when the price action finally hits that six-figure mark. According to Adam Back, it's going to happen before March 31st of next year. I think it's most likely to happen proceeding the halving, but either way, we're going to be celebrating in Puerto Rico. So if you're planning on coming, I invite you to join the Discord server at discord.cryptonewsalerts.net. What's good? BitMax, what up, my friend? Sajid, welcome. What's good? Good to see you guys. Auto smash the like button. I appreciate that. Everyone just tuning in now, the greatest compliment you can do to help with the algorithm, smash the like. It helps out tremendously and it helps get more exposure to the show. My goal is to have 100,000 subscribers by the time of the halving. Right now, we're fast approaching 60,000 subs. I think we just crossed 57,000 to be more precise. And I had a scare. Remember about a month ago, I lost my YouTube channel. Fortunately, and I thank God, it was temporary, and they gave it back to me a week and a half later. You guys know the saga. I'm not going to dive deep into that right now. But it's important you guys follow me and help support this movement if you want to see this channel continue to thrive. I think the bigger my following is, the least likely they're going to be able to discriminate and shut me down again. I think once I could hit that 100,000 subscriber mark, my audience is going to be too big and make too much of an uproar, just like we did when I got shut down more recently. But if it wasn't for other major influencers on X who were, making an uproar, and for all of you complaining to YouTube, they would have never gave me my channel back. I truly believe that, because I think some of the powers that be perceive Bitcoin as a threat, even though obviously it's, accepted, it's considered a commodity. But trust me, behind closed doors, the people who run this world and print the money, they do not like Bitcoin whatsoever. In fact, it's their biggest enemy. I'm telling you this straight up. Bitcoin is their biggest enemy. The powers that be that can control the world, Bitcoin is their biggest adversary, nemesis. Facts, fam. So we need your support. The bigger we get, the less likely to ever get shut down. And all you got to do, smash the like, subscribe, follow me on Rumble as a backup just in case. We also have a new channel on YouTube, which is clips.cryptonewsalerts.net, where I'm uploading clips from the live stream each and every day as well. And of course, we're on X, we're on Rumble, and all over the world. No one can stop this freedom movement. We shall continue to march. You know how we do here. Statwise, appreciate that. Smash the like. Thanks for the reminder. Much love. Yes, and follow me on X. I appreciate that. More drops coming soon, guys. Take advantage of these sales. 100%. Good point. Ricardo Rivera, shout out to you. Seize the moment. Don't just sit there. Oh, man, why are we dumping? Nah, if we're dumping and you believe in Bitcoin and you have the dry powder to take advantage of it, do so. Why not? What do you got to lose? I like to weigh the upside versus the downside. What's the downside right now? The downside, Bitcoin goes to zero. I don't think that could ever happen, but let's say there is a 0.00001% chance of that happening. And why don't I believe that could happen? Because as long as people perceive Bitcoin as valuable, as long as people perceive unconfiscatable money as valuable, incorruptible money as valuable, it'll always have a freaking value. So the Peter Schiffs or that one old man that says, Bitcoin is going to zero, trust me, it's going to zero, they don't really know much. They're probably paid to say it, for all we know. You know what I mean? Maybe the powers that be give them a nice little deal or something like that. Hey, say this. Because again, Bitcoin is the biggest threat to the central banking cartel, regardless of what they say. If they could have shut Bitcoin down, they would have done so over a decade ago. It's because they can't. And that's what makes it so powerful. It empowers the people. Do you think the controllers, the people controlling the world, do they want an empowered population, or do they prefer us to be like sheep? Hence, sheep people. What do they prefer? What type of population is easier to control? The sheep or the empowered people? It's hard to tell an empowered sovereign freedom, activist or individual what to do. They're not going to listen to you. And if you tell them what to do, they'll just do the opposite. That's how I am with like the news media. Sometimes I just want to know the propaganda, and whatever they recommend, 99% of the time, just do the freaking opposite. You know what I mean? And you're good, because if you follow their recommendations, they're leading you off a cliff. It's the blind leading the blind. I truly believe that. A great example of that is Jim Cramer. That's why there's inverse Cramer. Anything this guy recommends, do the freaking opposite, because obviously he's there for a reason. It's to keep the sheep, you know what I mean, enslaved, keep you wrecked, keep you broke, keep you in poverty, because as long as you're poverty, you're going to be dependent upon a government, and that's what they want at the end of the day. They want you to be dependent upon them. They have a problem with greed and power, and it doesn't matter how much money they have, because they're not in it. They already print the money. They don't need the money. Guess what happens though? They become the corruption just leads to them wanting more power, wars, you know what I mean? Things of this nature. And I'm not going to get too deep upon that because we are on YouTube as well as Rumble. But anyways, what's up, Stanley with Twins? You watched the video, poor Ben? I mean, I felt bad for the guy, watching him cry, his wife standing next to him, but I felt more sorry for his wife supporting him through this embarrassment. You know what I mean? And is it necessary to make public statements that you were cheating on your wife? I don't know. I don't think that's a good PR thing. I don't think it helps personally. Maybe you're transparent there, but let's be transparent about the crypto scams you're pumping or have been pumping and some of those things. You know what I mean? I think keep your personal business. You know what I mean? That's my humble opinion. It is what it is. R, what up? He said BS about substance abuse. Word. 10 million Bitcoin. Damn, son. Yeah, shout out to Adam Back. I ain't pulling these numbers out of my butt. This has come from Adam Back, a pioneer of Bitcoin, fam, creator of Hashcash. You know what I mean? Bryce, what's good? New trucks today cost more than a freaking house. 120,000 for a Dodge Ram. I was going to say Dodge Ram. Where do people get their money? By selling drugs? I don't get it. Yeah, it's insane. That's why I do a show every day. I have to. Just playing. But I kind of do. Never know. Anyways, I paid $4,900 for my 2001 Sierra with about 114,000 miles. This truck is far more dependable than $120,000 computer-controlled Dodge Ram. It kind of scares me, the new cars, because I know the government has the ability to take control over it because it's all can be hacked. Old school cars, at least you know that you won't be a victim of that. So it is kind of scary when you're talking about brand new technology ran by all these electronics. There's a fine line between that, fam. Tough T was good. Bitboy is a juice head? That's funny. Well, remember at one point he was, for the lack of a better term, overweight. I'd say extremely overweight. Obese. I don't know how you would describe that. But I think the average person nowadays is overweight. Safe to say that in America at least. And then he started working out. And I'm like, mad respect. Lost a lot of weight. When I saw him at the conference was it 2022? Yeah, last year. When I saw him at the Bitcoin conference, he seemed to be thinning out. I think it was even rocking like a jersey or something. I'm like, wow, impressive. Lost a lot of weight. Much respect. But then he admitted he was taking steroids and diet pills. I don't even know if those two mix. I don't get that. Diet pills to lose weight, and then at the same time, you're taking steroids. Obviously, that's not going to mix well. I'm not an expert in this field, but it doesn't seem that was the smartest thing to do. And then he was blaming his erratic behavior on taking those things. That's why I don't take nothing. Everything I take is natural. I may take a lot of things, but they're all natural. Every supplement I take is natural. You know what I mean? As I shared on X the other day, I haven't even eaten meat in 24 years, right? So if I haven't even eaten meat in 24 years, you think I'm going to take some, a doctor prescribed, take these diet pills? No, thank you. Why wouldn't I ever take diet pills? Well, number one, I wouldn't never need to because I am into fitness and health and I take it very serious and I have been for a long time. Number two, side effects. All things prescribed by doctors have side effects. You know what I mean? You want to know what doesn't have the bad side effects? The vitamin D3, the things they don't recommend. You know what I mean? Vitamin C. These are good things. Getting some natural sunlight, getting a lot of sleep and a lot of rest. There's no side effects to that. You know what I mean? The side effects come from the drugs. They come from the prescriptions. They come from the pharmaceutical companies. Big pharma. You think they have your health in your best interests? You think they care and they're concerned about your health? If so, that's hilarious. I'm just saying. I know I'm ranting, fam. Good point, says that. Word up. Sorry for the occasional typo. All good, guys. I understand. Fat fingers and smoking with y'all every day bites me in the boo-boo. All good, fam. Exactly. He might have disappeared for strategic reasons. Gary and friends filing their own bags right now while keeping prices suppressed. Guess it gives us more time to stack. Exactly. Selling with twins. My sentiment exactly. Jay Ivy, what's up? He says patience. That's the name of the game here. Gary and Larry sitting in a tree. Yeah, that's right. We're talking about Gensler and Fink, right? The BlackRock CEO. You already know. They're, communicating together in some private chats on WhatsApp for all we know. Anyways, people underestimate the difficulty of the hodl. Exactly. And that's why, again, shout out to Max. Regardless of the price action, just buy the Bitcoin hodl for 4 years and forget about it. You know what I mean? Chris Minka, that bet is worth $290. You nailed it. That's all it is. Yep, I've always thought Adam Back is Satoshi. If not him, then Elon. I don't think Elon is Satoshi. I think you guys give Elon too much credit. If not, then the US and the UK Secret Services, word. For the faint of heart, word. Adam Back's words, word. Smash. Thank you for the smashes, Jeremy and Mr. Still Stacking. Appreciate that, fam. How can you take advantage of the 6 or 7 figure Bitcoin without selling it? Is that a trick question? Let's address that. How do you take advantage of 100,000 or 7-figure $1 million Bitcoin price without selling it? Why do you need to sell it? I don't think you understand. Why would you want dollars that are deteriorating in value? Hypothetical. Let's hypothetically say Bitcoin today is $1 million. And you're like, wow, one Bitcoin's $1 million. I want $1 million. And then you trade your Bitcoin for $1 million. And then tomorrow, because of hyperinflation, Bitcoin is $10 million. And now your $1 million can buy you a loaf of bread. Just saying, why do you want the ultimate ish coin? I don't understand the reasoning for that. You'll be able to live off of Bitcoin. There's apps that already make that possible. You know what I mean? For example, with Strike, etc. You can do real-time intermittence, between countries, etc. You could, spend Bitcoin using apps as well. So I think the ideal scenario, there would be no upside to selling your Bitcoin for fiat. So here's another scenario. You just hold your Bitcoin, and when you need to buy something, you buy it with Bitcoin. You don't need a dollar. You don't need to use the fiat money. You don't need the CBDC unless you choose to use it and participate in their Ponzi scheme. If we all stop participating in their Ponzi scheme today, the dollar just collapses. If the dollar collapses, why would you sell your Bitcoin for the collapsed currency? Let me know if I'm making sense, because I just don't understand the logic of wanting dollars when Bitcoin is that valuable. I would just want more Bitcoin. That's just me. Let me know if that makes sense, fam. Not too much hopium, but I still like this channel. Oh, too much hopium. Yeah, we take hits from that hopium bong on a daily basis here. Welcome to Crypto News Alerts, the most bullish channel in crypto, but it's backed by real predictions. This is not pie in the sky. I don't make this stuff up. But I like to cover people who believe in Bitcoin. Adam Back, he's a pioneer. He's a Bitcoin OG. This is the type of people we cover. I think they're more credible than Peter Schiff or what's his name, Garrett Soloway or Data Dash and all the bearish channels. You have bulls and you have bears. Don't matter if you're an influencer. You're either a bull or a bear. I listen to the bulls, because if you're betting against Bitcoin, I don't think you understand it. I've done my 100,000 hours of research. I put in over 10,000 hours of this podcast. You know what I mean? Reading stories every freaking day for the past 4 or 5 years. I believe in it. I know it's going to go up in value. I get that. So I'm bullish as all hell. And I have a long-term perspective. I cover a lot of predictions, like, Adam Back says 100,000 in the next 6 months before the halving. But he also says by the year 2032, $10 million Bitcoin. I tend to believe him. I'm not questioning that. And what if he's off? Who cares? At least he had the balls and the conviction to make the prediction, and we got to cover it. And I think that's a lot more exciting than talking about Bitboy all day on the channel, right? I'd rather cover predictions. Predictions are exciting. That's just my 2 Satoshis. Anyways, fam, let me know what you guys think. Lucky day. These $1 million predictions are the same as 2017. People dream too much. Is that a bad thing that we're dreaming too much? What's the alternative? Is being stuck in reality in a Ponzi scheme matrix? Serious? If I have the ability to daydream and visualize Bitcoin at $1 million versus looking at reality and turning on TV and believing the BS they're shoving down our throats, I choose to live in my own mind, my own conscious. I don't want my consciousness to be controlled by factors that don't have my best interest in mind. Maybe family has my best interest in mind, but you think the news stations have our best interest in mind? Do you think the government has our best interest in mind? Do you think the central banking cartels have our best interest in mind? Do you think fiat currency has our best interest in mind? Do you think CBDCs have our best interest in mind? I think not. That's a personal opinion, but I'm a dreamer. I love dreaming. And it's because of that I can foresee 10 years out into the future. I don't care about today. You know what I mean? I live in the present, don't get me wrong. I understand the power of the present, hence why it's called the present. It's a gift. I get that. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to the future and what it's going to bring us, because we have the power to step into that future, walking to that future and make it a reality. The power is in the people, right? So yeah, that's why. I'm not so concerned about a $25,000 price action. That doesn't scare me. I still sleep like a baby. Bitcoin can crash to 2,000 tomorrow. I'll just wake up. Whoa, $2,000 Bitcoin. Whoa, how much money do I have to buy a Bitcoin today? Let's seize the moment, right? Who cares? It's going to go back up. Not like I'm going to sell. You can't lose what you don't sell, right? So as long as you're not selling and have paper hands, there's really no loss, because one Bitcoin is still equivalent to one Bitcoin, regardless if it's a $2,000 Bitcoin or less than $2,000 Bitcoin. Like the first Bitcoin I bought when I got into Bitcoin in 2017, it was trading at like $1,500. That same Bitcoin today is still worth one Bitcoin. Yeah, the dollar value is way higher, of course, but I don't care about the dollar value. That's the bigger picture. I don't care what the dollar is. It's irrelevant. Who cares? I care about Bitcoin. You know what I mean? It's going to continue to go up. You know what I mean? More people are going to be attracted to it as an alternative to the CBDCs, and there is a finite limited supply. It's incorruptible. It's perfect money. And when I say perfect, I don't say that lightly. It's literally perfect money. We've never had perfect money. We've never had any form of money with a finite limited supply. Even the precious metal markets are heavily manipulated with derivatives. Derivatives are financial weapons of mass destruction, and they use that. For example, and I heard Max say this, so this comes from Max Kaiser, for every ounce of silver, there's 50 ounces of derivatives, which means paper silver that doesn't really exist. So with Bitcoin, we have the power to pull our private keys. So the only way they have derivatives is through the futures markets, in which Gary Gensler and the SEC love because they can manipulate it, right? But when you have to have the underlying asset, such as with a spot ETF, it changes the game, right? Grayscale converting their GBTC product into a Bitcoin ETF, spot ETF means they have to hold on to that underlying asset. There's no manipulation, no more, fam. So that's the game changer. And right now they hold over 600,000 BTC. So BlackRock, if they get their ETF approved, they're going to have to hold a tremendous amount of Bitcoin, which they're probably currently not holding. What does that mean? They need to be mass accumulating. So Gary is probably doing them a favor by not approving these spot ETFs right now. It gives the big guys, the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, etc., the opportunity to get those Bitcoin on the low at a much cheaper discount versus when it's at an all-time high. So it's in their best interest to manipulate the markets, but they're not going to be able to do that forever. And the bigger the market cap becomes for the king crypto, the more secure, you know what I mean? And also, the more difficult it's going to be to attack it, because it becomes stronger and stronger. And in fact, the more you try to attack it, the stronger the Bitcoin network becomes. Hence, it's perfect money, fam. I truly believe that. Stat-wise, I think Chainlink and Matic are the two alts that actually have utility. I wouldn't bet on Ethereum outpacing Bitcoin at this point. Word. Bitcoin is our saving grace. Preach. Preach, fam, America. Word, Chris. Appreciate the love. We will be the new power at B with Bitcoin. You already know. Here we go. Spycraft says, ultimately, the U.S. government wants Bitcoin to save the dollar. I know I heard Kennedy Jr., who is running for president, say that if he was elected president, he would back the US dollar with Bitcoin. Would the powers that be allow that, is the million-dollar question? Would he end up like his uncle, JFK, assassinated and trying to do that? Because I heard JFK was trying to end the Fed. And boom, you know, game over. So makes you wonder. Things that make you go, you know what I mean? Bitcoin, Manu, BTC Go, Word. Welcome, Naramu. Mining for years, buying for years. That's what's up, Tim. Much love to you. Hughes Chiropractor, good stuff. Send a memo to Trump. The debasement undermines the dollar, not Bitcoin. Exactly. Printing more money undermines the dollar. And what are they going to continue to do? Print more money, and then they'll just blame it on CZ and Binance. Oh, there's hyperinflation. This is CZ's fault. Get him, guys. Get him, Gary. Can't make this stuff up. He hurt a lot of people. Word. Yeah. Preach, fam. Appreciate the support. I love juice better humans. Word. I haven't eaten meat in 24 minutes. Word, Chris. And I don't knock meat at the same time. I'm not one of those guys, I'm anti-meat. No, my daughter eats meat. My family eats meat. I'm the only weirdo who doesn't eat meat that I know. It's just not for me. I know my body. I know what I like, and it is what it is. And I don't preach telling people what to eat. I'll never do that. Much love and respect, Jeff. I'm glad you eat meat. Humans need their protein. Get your protein any way you wish. I just choose to get my protein a different way. That's all. David Arnold, yes, juice and diet pills mix cyanide. Is natural to an organic the difference between medicine and poison as the dose? Good Lord, David. Thank you for sharing. What day will we hit $100 million? Well, he didn't give us the exact day, but he gives us the date of his prediction, which is 2032. 9 more years, roughly. Let me know if you're ready. What's good? I just bought more Bitcoin. I'm expecting a little drop. Word. Bitcoin will continue to be volatile short term. What did Michael Saylor once say? Volatility equals life force. The dollar has no life force, hence no volatility. It just remains at $1. Bitcoin, on the other hand, it's living. It's real. You know what I mean? It's like the difference between organic and chemicals in your food. Bitcoin is organic. The dollar is the chemicals destroying you. You know what I mean? I like that metaphor, actually. Just sell small amounts of fiat. If you have to buy something with fiat, keep the rest safe in Bitcoin. Exactly. That's all I do. I keep enough dollars to pay my bills. I'm not going to save in dollars. Why would I if I'm going to lose 20+% per year in hyperinflation? Makes no sense. Why would you save it? Michael Saylor described it as a melting ice cube. I think that's a great analogy, great metaphor. Shout out to the best live chat mods on YouTube, 100%. Massive shout out to Bitcoin Maximus, Digital Dankness, and all the other mods. I think we got 5 in the house. Some of y'all I don't see every day, so I forget who they even are. If it collapsed, I would stay in Bitcoin. Exactly. If fiat currencies are collapsing in real time, there'd be no incentive to move out of it. Maybe you diversify into gold if you believe in the precious metal. I personally just don't trust the banks, the way they manipulate the prices with the derivatives and all of that. We know for a fact, if gold wasn't manipulated at the level it is, it could be $100,000 an ounce. But they don't want people moving out of their fiat Ponzi scheme and into gold the same way they don't want people moving out of their fiat Ponzi scheme into Bitcoin. They're trying to protect their monopoly at the end of the day. Exactly. Glad I never got into Bitboy. Just too much drama for me. Yeah, teach their own, fam. I feel you. Don't forget, when you sell your Bitcoin, you have to pay 30% capital gains tax. Well, I guess it depends on the laws in the country you live. Here in Puerto Rico, under Act 60, I pay 0 capital gains tax if I ever cash in any Bitcoin. And I say if, because I don't have any, desire to do so. But also, another example would be in El Salvador, where Bitcoin is legal tender. 0 capital gains tax. So you can cash all the Bitcoin you want out into the fiat Ponzi scheme to pay your bills or do whatever your plans are, buy a house. 0 capital gains tax, right? Why does the government need our tax dollars if they can print money? It becomes the $1 million question. Why? They like the population poor. They don't want to see you thrive. That's why. You know what I mean? Real talk. Elon is a failed cypherpunk who fell back on PayPal, backed by trust banks. Then Satoshi solved the double spend. Holy grail 10 years after he predicted by the best U.S. economist, Milton Friedman. Thank you for sharing StatWise. Paul Revere. Welcome, Paul. You're a legend. Biggest regret was selling Even though I made profit, I'd rather have the Bitcoin because I spent the profit. And I'm curious, Paul, what year did you spend that in? And I hear crazy stories like people 10 years ago. Yeah, I bought this car for, whatever, 50,000 at the time. It cost me like 20 Bitcoin. Now that 20 Bitcoin today is like, whoa, serious. For a car, the cars depreciate in value like the most. From the time you buy the brand new car, you know what I mean, and drive it home, you probably lost 20% of the value. I don't know if that's accurate, but you know what I'm saying. It's not a good investment unless you're buying cars that appreciate in value, like rarities. Why is Bitcoin so valuable? It's scarcity. You know what I mean? Some cars have scarcity. Maybe there's a limited number, like a Bugatti or something. Who knows? Wall Street doesn't understand Bitcoin like we do. They have a learning curve to get over, right? Zero says, while I do agree, I have heard time thinking BlackRock needs a discount. Yeah, you're probably right. That's right, JV. The spot ETF, like playing poker, you either have the aces or you don't. Eventually, someone calls your bluff. 100%. Great analogy, Mr. Still Stacking. Mark Whitek. If the dollar collapses, who decides on how much goods and services costs in Bitcoin? The people, the open market. Bitcoin is the truest, most sincere open market. We determine the price. It's buyers and sellers. For example, if there's a supply shock and there's a limited supply, hypothetically, BlackRock wants as much Bitcoin as they can get, but they can't even get it off of anyone. They're going to have to pay a premium and the price shoots up. Someone is going to be willing to sell it at some price. So hypothetically, if no one is willing to sell the Bitcoin at 26,000, well, maybe they'll pay it for 40, 50. A certain percentage of people will sell it for 80. A certain percentage of people will sell it for 100. So, it's an open, real market, not a manipulated market like all the other markets in the world. The only thing manipulating the Bitcoin prices, I should say, suppressing the Bitcoin prices, is the unlawful actions of the SEC by choice. They want to wreck investors. They like futures ETFs for the obvious reason, and they're denying and delaying the Bitcoin ETFs we want because they don't work for what's in the best interest of the people. They work for what's in the best interest of the people who they're working for, which is not us. Just keeping it real, fam. Bitcoin Trini, what's good? I've heard it all. Bitcoin's going to zero. We landed on the moon, yada, yada. Great point. I'm with you on that, fam. Don't get me started. Yeah, the market has to be based on something like it's the dollar right now. If the dollar is gone, the $1 million Bitcoin isn't worth $1 million. I think eventually they'll just price Bitcoin in gold because gold will be more stable. The dollar will be destroyed and wrecked along with all the other fiat currencies. So yeah, maybe precious metals, gold or silver, they'll be comparing the value to. You know what I mean? That makes sense to me. Selling your Bitcoin for something is part of the velocity of money. We can't get $100,000 without the current downside volatility, but if you average the volatility, it's the best performing asset of the last 10 years. Yeah, as Max pointed out, Bitcoin's been, since the Genesis block, it's been roughly 14 years. Bitcoin is up over 20 million percent. 20 million percent. So yeah, best performing asset in human history, probably for the future of human history as well. You know what I mean? It is what it is. More gold is being mined, so gold naturally loses 2% of value. Exactly. It's not as scarce as we all think. Its value is manipulated to derivatives to track along with the dollar, which is devaluing at 7% per year. Great point, Hazy. Thanks for breaking down the math for me. Bitcoin equals AOL. Serious? I've heard this argument. People like, Bitcoin is MySpace. What happened to MySpace? I can't compare those two whatsoever just because it had, the first of its kind. It's not about who's first. It's about who does it right. But Bitcoin is so perfect. Look at all the forks. Do you feel that Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin? Do you feel that Satoshi Vision is the real Bitcoin? Look how they're performing against Bitcoin, right? It's all going to zero against Bitcoin, fam, as Max Kaiser once said. Just saying. Yeah, man, Bitcoin Maximus, my brother. I call it Boomer Coin. Boomer Coin? I guess you're an ish coiner and you're not a Bitcoiner, so you're making fun of Bitcoin because you don't want to see Bitcoiners win. But if you're an ish coiner and you're preying upon the demise of Bitcoin and making fun of it, thinking that Bitcoin's going to be destroyed and your coin is going to take over, good luck getting wrecked, fam. Or I should say good luck not getting wrecked, because the reality is Your ish coin cannot win without Bitcoin winning. And that's the reality a lot of ish coiners don't understand. So please do tell me which ish coin you're referring to, and I can read that out loud before we wrap up the show if you care to share. Gensler was rigging gold when he was the head of the CFTC in 2009 to 2014. Boom, you can't make this stuff up. Also, JP Morgan Chase had got caught red-handed many times, including more recently for manipulating the precious metal markets, and they've paid upwards of billions of dollars in fines. This is fact on record, fam. Yeah, crypto bros that don't own or like Bitcoin have no clue. Yeah, say that again. Anyways, fam, now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show, because this show has been going on for quite a long time. Holy moly, time flies, fam. Anyways, we broke down the latest technical analysis, as well as breaking news coming out of China. Their court declaring virtual assets legal properties protected by the law, which is a good sign. We also discussed Ben Armstrong apologizing to the crypto community amid the Bitboy drama and hinting at a comeback. We also discussed the latest between Ripple's legal team opposing the SEC appeal over the XRP decision, as well as the former SEC chairman Jay Clayton, who started that lawsuit against XRP on his last day in office, just FYI, says spot Bitcoin ETF approval is inevitable despite the ongoing delays, which we all know is fact, only a matter of time. We also discussed Adam Back, the Bitcoin OG. He says Bitcoin can explode to $200 million market cap by the year 2032 in roughly 9 years, sending the Bitcoin price parabolic to $9 million per coin. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to smash that like button, as I greatly appreciate it. Once again, it helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow on Sunday